Patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. The world of reality has its limits. The world of imagination is boundless. Whoever blushes is already guilty. True innocence is ashamed of nothing. Nature never deceives us. It is we who deceive ourselves. Force does not constitute right. Obedience is due only to legitimate powers. Man was born free, and he is everywhere in chains. Plant and your spouse plants with you. Weed and you weed alone. The person who has lived the most is not the one with the most years but the one with the richest experiences. Absolute silence leads to sadness. It is the image of death. The body politic, as well as the human body, begins to die as soon as it is born, and carries itself the causes of its destruction. Childhood is the sleep of reason. Heroes are not known by the loftiness of their carriage. The greatest braggarts are generally the merest cowards. Every man has a right to risk his own life for the preservation of it. Remorse sleeps during prosperity but awakes bitter consciousness during adversity. The English are predisposed to pride, the French to vanity. However great a man's natural talent may be, the act of writing cannot be learned all at once. Our greatest evils flow from ourselves. Although modesty is natural to man, it is not natural to children. Modesty only begins with the knowledge of evil. Take the course opposite to custom and you will almost always do well. The training of children is a profession, where we must know how to waste time in order to save it. Our affections as well as our bodies are in perpetual flux. Base souls have no faith in great individuals. We pity in others only those evils which we ourselves have experienced. Insults are the arguments employed by those who are in the wrong. What wisdom can you find that is greater than kindness? You forget that the fruits belong to all and that the land belongs to no one. People who know little are usually great talkers, while men who know much say little. A feeble body weakens the mind. No man has any natural authority over his fellow men. We should not teach children the sciences, but give them a taste for them. Those that are most slow in making a promise are the most faithful in the performance of it. Gratitude is a duty which ought to be paid, but which none have a right to expect. Falsehood has an infinity of combinations, but truth has only one mode of being. Free people, remember this maxim: we may acquire liberty, but it is never recovered if it is once lost. It is too difficult to think nobly when one thinks only of earning a living. How many famous and high-spirited heroes have lived a day too long? When something in affliction happens to you, you either let it defeat you, or you defeat it. Virtue is a state of war, and to live in it we have always to combat with ourselves. To endure is the first thing that a child ought to learn, and that which he will have the most need to know. Our will is always for our own good, but we do not always see what that is. religious persecutors are not believers, they are rascals. We do not know what is really good or bad fortune. Take from the philosopher the pleasure of being heard, and his desire for knowledge ceases. It is a mania shared by philosophers of all ages to deny what exists and to explain what does not exist. Fame is but the breath of people, and that often unwholesome. It is unnatural for a majority to rule, for a majority can seldom be organized and united for specific action, and a minority can. Every man has the right to risk his own life in order to preserve it. Has it ever been said that a man who throws himself out the window to escape from a fire is guilty of suicide? Most nations, as well as people, are impossible only in their youth. They become incorrigible as they grow older. The English think they are free. They are free only during the election of members of Parliament. Reading, solitude, idleness, a soft and sedentary life, intercourse with women and young people, these are perilous paths for a young man, and these lead him constantly into danger. The first step towards vice is to shroud innocent actions in mystery, and whoever likes to conceal something sooner or later has reason to conceal it. We are born weak, we need strength. Helpless, we need aid. Foolish, we need reason. All that we lack at birth, all that we need when we come to man's estate, is the gift of education. Money is the seed of money, and the first guinea is sometimes more difficult to acquire than the second million. We are born, so to speak, twice over. Born into existence, and born into life. Born a human being, and born a man. No true believer could be intolerant or a persecutor. If I were a magistrate and the law carried the death penalty against atheists, I would begin by sending to the stake whoever denounced another. Happiness, a good bank account, a good cook, and a good digestion